Sherrone Moore pleaded no contest to a misdemeanor charge in court today. Let's talk about when his sentencing will be and what some attorneys that, aren't representing him, aren't related to the case, think the punishment actually will be. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching Adapt and Respond, thank you for joining us here. We talk college football year round. If you're into that, hit that subscribe button, like this video, answer the question in the comments below. What do you think Sherrone Moore's punishment should be, criminally and related to the sport? Honestly, it is going to be an ongoing story that we cover and we talk about, because Sherrone Moore was the head coach at the University of Michigan. Full stop, period. I could keep going from there, and I'm not sure that I will not, but full stop. You're the head coach at the University of Michigan. Everything you do is newsworthy. Everything you stand up for will be scrutinized. And when you let down those standards that you put for yourself, your players, your staff, your program, we are going to talk about it. And we're not just going to talk about it from a standpoint of what has happened here and what, ugliness has transpired, but we're going to talk about it from what can we learn from this? What can we do better as people who love this sport? You'll know that Sherrone Moore was fired in December after he revealed an inappropriate relationship with a Michigan staffer, and generally speaking, had violated marriage vows, in addition to broken policy at the University of Michigan. It made it easy for athletic director Ward Manuel to fire him then. And that's exactly what he did. He fired him for cause. And they said about finding the next coach that would be the head coach of Michigan. Sherrone Moore gets fired after going 16-8. Pretty remarkable 2024 season, given that they basically played the game without a starting quarterback, even though Davis Warren stood in for a lot of that. And then 2025 comes around and they get beat by Ohio State. And not long after that, he beats himself with this relationship. Now, on Friday, he pleaded no contest to a misdemeanor charge of malicious use of telecommunications device and trespassing as part of a plea agreement, right? So most attorneys that have looked at this offered up, we don't expect him to serve jail time, though he could serve up to a year in jail. That's still very much on the table. But the reason that prosecutors ended up throwing out some of these more serious charges is that Moore's attorney argued that police had omitted important information when obtaining the arrest warrant for him. Quote, the dismissal of those charges validates the concerns we raised about the investigation from the very beginning. This is his attorney, Ellen Michaels. Mr. Moore is pleased to put this behind him and move forward. And I think many people would like that to happen. There are going to be those that hold Sherrone Moore accountable for this forever. And it will be a part of his resume everywhere he wants to go. I don't believe that he is done coaching football. At what level, though, remains to be seen. Would he be welcome in an FBS coaching staff's room right now? Hard to say. Really difficult to say. Certainly not in the Big Ten, or at least I wouldn't expect him to be welcome in the Big Ten or any of the Power 4 conferences, because his name carries such weight. And the stigma is going to follow him around, alongside the cheating scandal and the recruiting violations. Like, when you take a look at what Sherrone Moore has been involved with over the last 5 years, and you see Connor Stallions, the staffers that have been on that staff that have been arrested for computer hacking, Matt Weiss, investigated for sexual assault, assisted defensive line coach. They had an unceremonious firing of the general manager for Lord knows what reason in February. And this is after Kyle Whittingham has taken over. This is after Kyle Whittingham had more or less put his stamp on it, brought in his coordinators in Jason Beck and Jay Hill. And yet and still, this is what we're talking about. And it also serves as a reminder that you can never be too vigilant about this. And one of the things that I hope that many coaches will take into account here is, if it ain't got nothing to do with coaching football, what you doing it for? If it ain't got nothing to do with coaching football and winning football games, what you doing it for? Sherrone Moore is going to have to talk with his children about this. And that feels like a lot of punishment right there. His kids are going to deal with this. His wife is going to deal with this, not just inside their home, but outside of it, right? There is a lot that people are going to infer about Sherrone Moore based entirely on this situation, fair or unfair. And an otherwise bright young coach at one of the premier programs in the entire sport is going to have to try to find a way to work his way back. And I'm not sure what that looks like for him. I think he is fortunate in that he probably put a lot of money away. And if they invested their money correctly, he doesn't really have to coach football again. But in as far as trying to make himself very, very open to the idea of coaching, he's going to have to show some stuff. He's going to have to show and prove. I mean, this is not unlike what we would do with players. There have been players that have been dismissed for less, and there have been players that have been allowed to work their way back. As a matter of fact, an example of this at Oklahoma, Joe Mixon. I broke the story of him punching a woman in the face at a local restaurant, caught on camera. He put in an Alfred plea. He was away from the football team for an entire year, and Bob Stoops put into place a lot of benchmarks that he would have to clear before he could be part of that team again. And I think because of Joe's age, in addition to his ability as a football player, he was allowed to work his way back in society's good graces too. I'll be curious to find out what the tolerance level will be for Sherrone Moore. As sad as it is to say, infidelity is not an enormously big deal in this country, and it is not uncommon. It is rather uncommon to see that from a head coach at the Power 4 level, and that's why I think we're giving this so much weight. You let me know. What do you think? Has Sherrone Moore served the punishment that he will probably serve and continue to serve, or is there more you would like to see? Let me know in the comments below.